Blog Talk Radio. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Medlock Post radio show. This is where we educate, entertain, enlighten, and empower. The views and opinions on the Medlock Post radio show are those of the host and guests. They are not necessarily the views and opinions of Blog Talk Radio, Spreaker.com, its corporations, affiliates, or any other podcast streaming services. Thank you for joining the show today, and here is your host, Richard G. Medlock.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Medlock Post, and this is Richard G. Medlock. Today is August 30th, 2022. Yes, we've reached the end of August plus one day. Today's episode is number 44, Serving in the Community. And this is a continuation of our program last week. And yes, Kathy Larson is back with us along with someone else we'll introduce. But in a Christmas, in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, Jacob Marley visits Ebenezer Scrooge with a powerful message. And this is the message, ladies and gentlemen. It is required of every man that the spirit within him should walk abroad among his fellow men and travel far and wide. And if that spirit goes not forth in life, it is condemned to do so after death. It is doomed to wander through the world. Oh, woe is me. And witness what it cannot share, but might have shared on earth, turn to happiness. Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. That was Jacob Marley. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm sure most of you have seen one of the many film versions of A Christmas Carol. But I would highly recommend that you get the book, the novel, and read it. There's some wonderful messages in there from Charles Dickens. Now, this was written in the 1780s, but the messages still resonate with us today. So that's my recommendation there. But this leads into what we're going to talk about today, serving in the community. And Kathy Larson is the North American Southeast Area Director for Just Serve, which covers 12 southern states. And having fallen in love with the mission of the resource, she has spent 5 years volunteering her time and efforts to the cause. I'm going to get my lips working here today, folks. Working side by side with like-minded people who she would never meet in an average day, Kathy has come to call volunteerism as one of her favorite interests. Kathy feels when she serves, she is fulfilling her greatest potential for good in this life and is blessed with joy because of it. Our other guest is Grace Lewis, and through her callings in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the Little Rock, Arkansas area, she reaches out into the community a lot like Kathy does. She attended BYU, Idaho, where she received a degree in nursing. Afterwards, working for over 10 years as a registered nurse, and I love this about Grace. Grace retired to homeschool her 7 children. Along with them, she and her husband love serving at a local soup kitchen and volunteering with community organizations monthly. She likewise enjoys building relationships with nonprofits, civic leaders, and faith-based ministries through her church calling and listing their needs on the justserve.org website. Additionally, via social media and other venues, she reaches community members to inform them of the website and the various ways they can be involved in the community. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Kathy and Grace to the Medlock Post. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Thank you for taking your time and being with us, Kathy for a second time and Grace for the first time. And Kathy is in Alabama and Grace is in the Little Rock, Arkansas area. And so we appreciate you getting up early to be with us. It's interesting. The one thing I learned in serving in the community and getting involved with organizations like Salvation Army and Catholic Charities and other organizations, but also the local, the one location, local, sometimes mom and pop organization that's reaching out to the poor and the needy in our communities. But William Booth, who founded the Salvation Army, was asked one time, what is the biggest message that you can give to us about serving others? And his answer was one word, and it was just others. That was his answer. Others. It's all about others. And that has resonated with me through the years. And then, of course, our famous Mr. Rogers, his quote was, "Look for the helpers." And that's what we're always doing. So, Kathy, I think you said you had a quote or two. Do you want to give them now or spread them out? Or
Oh, we could spread them out. They don't need it all at once.
Okay.
I just wanted to back up a little bit to your focus on others. You know, what I found through the times that I've been able to observe people while I'm giving community service and what it does to me, what it does to those individuals, it really is about others. When we get so focused inwardly on ourselves and our own problems, our lives seem very, very difficult and heavy. But when we turn that focus outward and really hone in on what the needs of others are and what we can bring to them to alleviate their suffering, it changes us, it lifts us, and those burdens are no longer as heavy as they were just moments ago. And so that outward focus on others is imperative for real happiness in life.
Thank you. Grace, do you want to comment about anything? Or
Yes, just to go along with what Kathy said, that I've noticed that in my own life as well as my children's, and the impact it's had on them getting out and serving. My son, that's 15, we serve at a soup kitchen, and one day when we were at home, he was just complaining about, all the things that he had to do. My husband asked him to go out and mow the yard, and he's just like, I have all these things. But it was a wonderful learning opportunity because my husband sat down with him and, said, hey, William, when we are out serving at Breaking Bread, do you notice, the man that comes in the white van? And he's like, yeah. He's like, do you notice how he has all of his belongings in the van? And he said, yeah. And he said, that's because he lives in his van. And that's all he had to say. And my son immediately, replied, I don't have it that hard. And so it's giving them the hands-on experience, because often as parents, we'll say, there's kids over, in other countries that are starving, or there's, you say all these things, but they don't see it in person. And so getting out and serving in person, going and helping the homeless, going and helping those that have food insecurities or whatever it may be, it gives them that real life experience, and it helps them to grow and to develop a deeper compassion and love for others, and to recognize the blessings that they have and have greater gratitude. And so as a mother, it's very important to me that I get my children involved in service for those reasons, so that they can develop those attributes.
Yeah, and those experiences with the youth are precious. We had a time we went to the Salvation Army soup kitchen, and one gentleman took his 16-year-old daughter, and they were in the service line, and a gentleman walked up, and she filled his plate, and he says, "Can I get some more? I haven't eaten in 3 days."
Mm-hmm.
And she's staring into his eyes.
Yep.
And it just overcame her, and it changed her life. She came up to me the next day in tears, telling me, "I will never complain about what I don't have, and my sense of gratitude has grown immensely." And
yep.
those things hit their hearts, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just a one-time thing. It hits their hearts. And I always say, if you go out, look a homeless person in the eyes. Just look them in the eyes once.
Mm-hmm.
And it will change your life.
Yep.
So until we get out and do it, it's not going to affect us at all. I've got something to do about that later on, but I'm going to wait till later.
Okay.
All righty. Kathy, one of your quotes.
Yes, this one is, I read it earlier and it really hit my heart. So I hope that it does something for someone else. Michael J. Graham said, "Service is what prayer looks like when it gets up off its knees and walks around in the world." And
oh, wow.
It's basically, yes, it was, when you think about it, it's, it is your prayer in action. It's your faith in action as you go forward into the world, going about the work that you were sent here to do. It's one thing to pray and to have a connection with the Lord, but it's another thing to actually prove who you really are deep down inside by your action.
Yeah, and on Friday's show, we had a discussion about that. I had the lady on from Lady Up America, and it's a Christian-based organization. And you guys need to go back and listen to it. It was a phenomenal experience. But we talked about, putting our faith in God. But going back to that quote that you just gave us, yeah, we can pray and we can hope and we can hope things get better for others and even for ourselves. But it doesn't work that way. We have to go out and do our part, and then what we do, all that we can do, God makes up the difference. But we have to go do it. And prayer alone is not going to cover that action. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring this up. I was going to do it at the end, but we've broached that subject. This is a thing I found a few years ago. Last time when Kathy was on here, we talked about Matthew 25. I was a hungered, and you gave me meat. And serving one of these, you were serving your God. This is a different take. The author is unknown. So this kind of goes into what we're talking about. I was hungry, and you formed a humanities club and discussed my hunger. I was in prison, and you crept off quietly to your chapel and prayed for my release. I was naked, and in your mind, you debated the morality of my appearance. I was sick, and you knelt and thanked God for your health. I was homeless, and you preached to me of the spiritual shelter of the love of God. I was lonely, and you left me alone to go and pray for me. You seem so holy, so close to God, but I'm still very hungry and lonely and cold. So how does that message fit into what we've been talking about so far?
Beautifully, beautifully. It reminds me of, and I can't remember exactly, the title of the movie, but it was about a man who tried to make a difference in a homeless man's life. He had some mental disabilities, and he came in and did everything that he felt like this man needed, and it turned out to be the opposite of what this man needed. And so when you're talking about looking at someone's eyes, you're talking about connecting with them in a way that is not just your suppositions of their needs, but there needs to be communication, there needs to be understanding, and they need to be able to let you know what their needs are. And so to meet those things is where I think the Lord wants us to be. He doesn't want us to just do what is convenient for us or what works with our schedule. He wants us to be able to meet those individuals that are in such great need. He wants us to be his hands. And so we have to put ourselves out there in those ways so that we can understand those needs and be able to fulfill them.
Yeah, that reminds me. The Lord doesn't want our spare time.
No.
Okay. But when I would go out and meet with organizations for the first time, I would sit down with them and I would just ask questions. What all do you do here? What is it that you do, to get a full understanding? And we just might think it's a soup kitchen or they provide shelter for the homeless or something. But there's usually a multi-layered service projects going on there. And then I say, what do you need? What are some of your needs? And I let them tell me. Mm-hmm. And that way, like you were saying, whether it's an individual or an organization, we understand what their needs are. And their needs today might be different a year from now because of how things change. So it's that understanding part, communicating part with our fellow citizens, with those in need, with these organizations that work so hard. These are dedicated individuals that work with these nonprofits. They don't make a lot of money. They do it because they love their fellow man.
Exactly.
And going from there. Grace, you've been quiet. We're going to give you a chance to talk here.
No, I just feel the same way, that when I meet many of these people that have started nonprofits, I'm just overcome by the amount of love that they have for their fellow man, and how that basically is what propels them forward in doing all that they do, and that it's completely out of love and to serve those that have great needs in the community. And they do it at great sacrifice. And I'm always humbled and inspired by them. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things with Just Serve, is getting to meet all of these local nonprofit leaders and hear their stories and how they got started. And, you know, it could be as simple like in Cabot, Arkansas, Kimberly with Hope Closet and Pantry. She just started with wanting to make boxes for people in need on Thanksgiving, and it just blossomed from there. And she now has a community closet, and she gives out food, and you can just see how the Lord leads them along. It's you have a willing heart, the Lord will guide you, and it's beautiful.
Well, and stories like that, in every community we have these stories. The good people in this country are giving people. And when we see this in all of our communities throughout the country, it should give us hope. You know, we don't hear these stories in the media, which is sad. They should start out every newscast talking about stories like you just said, and how people in the community are supporting her efforts and supporting those that are in need and are poor and are homeless and are sick. This is America, folks. This is who we are. We're the most charitable nation on earth. And as far as I can see, that has not stopped in America. And that's what gives me hope for America,
Exactly.
We're still here. Now, Grace, I just saw your email. She would like me to add that she wanted me not to read the second paragraph that I did, but read this. She currently assists with social media marketing for Just Serve in 10 states. She enjoys creating graphics and reels to show how serving not only blesses the lives of those being served, but likewise lifts our own in the process. So, Grace, I hope you're happy now.
She's out and about in her community all the time. She wouldn't be able to produce these reels or this social media promotion for service in general had she not been out engaged in community service herself. And so I really respect Grace and everything that she brings to the table, because the more we, just like you were saying, Richard, the more that we see the good that's happening in our community, the more inspired we become ourselves to become a part of that. And I think if we flood the earth with good things, good messages, good news, then more people will get a greater capacity to contribute. I think when people shut down is because they've lost their hope. They've lost their confidence in our country. And so they stay protected in their homes and they don't engage in the community. But this type of thing inspires people to get out and to do this type of service, become a part of this great thing that is happening, continues to happen. And we're just here to help promote that.
Yeah, and it, I thought I had a good handle on loving other people until I started this community service 7 years ago. And my love for my fellow man just increased. Mm-hmm. And that capacity just kept growing and growing. And this is what it's about. This is the bottom line, is loving your neighbor as much as you love yourself. And happiness will come from that. And I promise.
Happiness and healing, I would say. There's a lot of us that have gone through traumas or gone through some real deep sadness or even have had depression happen in their lives. And service actually helps us to come out of those situations that we find ourselves in dark times. Mm-hmm. This one quote that I have right here kind of explains that. It's by Wayne Mueller. And he said, "As we serve others, we are working on ourselves. Every act, every word, every gesture of genuine compassion naturally nourishes our own hearts as well. It's not a question of who is healed first. When we attend to ourselves with compassion and mercy, more healing is made available for others. And when we serve others with an open and generous heart, great healing comes to us."
Oh, that's beautiful.
It is.
And that is so true in especially in today's world, because there are forces they want to create depression, they want to create division. But when you're out serving in the community, you're building yourself, you're building them, you're giving them hope. Why? Because somebody cares. Mm-hmm. I have literally had people say, do you care about me? And all I can do is just hug them and let them know.
It's a binding thing. When you said that, building unity, it just flashes in my mind because I work so closely with Just Serve. Our motto is building unity in the community. And so that's exactly what we're endeavoring to do by offering this resource to both nonprofits and to volunteers, is to build unity. You feel that unifying force when you're doing this type of service, and it's a beautiful thing.
It is, and ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are not familiar with Just Serve, go to justserve.org and type in your zip code, and you might have to change. I think it automatically goes to a 5-mile radius, but put it on like a 25-mile radius, and you will see just a lot of opportunities to serve in the community. Now, one of the purposes of this program today is to talk about something that is coming up, and it's the September 11th National Day of Service. And this is put together by 911day.org in conjunction with AmeriCorps. Now, I want to play a couple of sound bites to kick this off, and then we're going to get into a little detail about this. So let's listen to this first one.
There are days we'll always remember. And there are days we must never forget. After September 11, 2001, our nation came together to meet tragedy with humanity. Whether you were there, saw it on TV, or learned about it in the classroom, this is a day we must always remember. Show the unity and resolve that followed that solemn day during this 9/11 Day of Service. Remember the fallen by lifting our communities. Honor the heroes by becoming a hero to someone in need. Register and volunteer to support our schools, food banks, senior centers, disaster readiness, and other organizations. Volunteer as individuals or unite with neighbors to support our communities. This is how we make a difference and show we remember together. Find volunteer opportunities this 9/11 by visiting our website.
Now, that was from AmeriCorps.org.
Mm-hmm.
That is from their website. And this next soundbite is from 911day.org, and it's September 11th, Return to Unitedness. So let's listen to this.
Let's clear it, brain guy. Can't see nothing in front of me. Can't see nothing coming. There once was a place where our differences did not matter.
Where strangers stood shoulder to shoulder with outstretched arms and an urge to help.
Where neighbors showed up for neighbors and everyone was our brother or sister.
Connected by nothing more than wanting to do good.
Where everyday people dropped everything to pitch in.
To be a frontliner, a rescuer, a hero when it mattered most, no questions asked.
To get back to that place, all we need to do is remember the 11th of September.
9/11 was a tragedy of unspeakable pain.
But it was also a moment of togetherness.
And a reminder of what we have in common.
A time when people were willing to give whatever they could.
Even at the risk of their own well-being.
A moment of compassion when we all felt more alike than different.
Because in that moment, we were in a state of unitedness.
9/11 proved we're not really divided.
Not when it truly matters.
Let's once again take a moment.
A moment to do a good deed this September 11th.
Done by me, you, us, and millions more.
Dona tu tiempo. Dona un abrigo de invierno.
Or just hold open a door. That kind of thing.
Deeds big and small. That would be a start.
Let's get back to that state of unitedness.
And let's never forget what we're capable of doing together.
That is a soundbite, ladies and gentlemen, I could play all year long.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It is inspiring. Those of us that remember that day and what happened in America afterwards was phenomenal.
Yeah,
And,
we need that. You don't want tragedy to happen again, but it truly did unify us as a nation.
It did, but I think it's going to be the initiative of individuals and families deciding, wait a minute, I'm tired of what's going on. I want to reach out in the community. I know I can make a difference, or our family can make a difference. And that's been proven over and over and over. And I think that's probably why this stuff is not in the news.
Right.
We need to create a Facebook page or something just to, on a national basis, just to report all these good deeds that are taking place. I know we do it on a local basis, but maybe that's something we can work on. Get some technical people involved in this. But okay, so the September 11th, National Day of Service. This is the 20th year. Now,
right.
the reason Grace Lewis is on here today is because she was heavily involved in this last year. So we want to have Grace tell us about her experience and what it did to the community in the Little Rock, Arkansas area.
So it was actually in Cabot, Arkansas, but that's pretty close to Little Rock. And we had refugees coming in at that time last year. And we all, got together in coordinating, since we had all of these relationships with different nonprofit organizations. And so we got together with Stitchers Mending Hearts and Cabot Nimble Symbol and My Very Own Blanket and Dresses from the Heart and several other organizations. And they each came together to do a part of that event. And so like My Very Own Blanket, we ordered patches. And what she does with her nonprofit is to help those in foster care. And she wants every, foster child to have their own blanket, because when she was a young mother, was rocking her babies, and she saw how attached they were to their blanket and just holding it and brought them peace. And so she felt she could do that for foster children. Well, we wanted to do that for these refugee children that were coming in. And so these local nonprofits came and they sewed the patches onto the blankets that were donated by community members. And then we also had 1,400 hygiene kits that we made for these incoming refugees. And that was donated all locally and from other people in the country and outside of the country that found out about the project and went to an Amazon list, and it got sent to a local nonprofit. So everyone just came together, and it was beautiful. It just showed me the power, that synergistic power. When you come together, you're able to do much more good than just you alone. And I think that that's what we're seeing and what we're hearing, from the 911day.org. When I was reading on their website about how they got started, they said that it was just two friends, David and Jay, who joined together a few months after 9/11. And Jay's younger brother, Glenn, he was an attorney, and he was also a volunteer firefighter, EMT, who died in the attacks. And they wanted to honor him and all those others who had died and also rose in the service in response to 9/11. And they met with 40 9/11 leaders who helped launch the nonprofit that we know today as 9/11 Day. And in 2009, that group successfully secured legislation that designated September 11th as a National Day of Service and Remembrance under federal law. And so I think it's just that we're taking that time every 9/11 day to remember. And that's something that we had a lesson on in church on Sundays, the word remember, and what that really does, because it helps us to step back, to feel those emotions, to have that gratitude, that love. And like you were saying, that we're not just solely focused on what's being, given to us through the media and feeling like everybody's at conflict, but remembering that we do all want to come together to perform good and that we love each other. And I think that's the beauty that 911day.org is helping us, is to remember.
Oh, that's just fantastic. And some things that I heard there, Grace, where you had all these organizations that were focused on one thing, like the blankets and other things. folks, you don't have to do it all.
Right.
Just do one thing. Contribute what you can.
Mm-hmm.
And that adds to others that are doing things, either as individuals or families or organizations, and it fills the pot.
Right.
And that's how you serve and become one in your community, and then you get to know other people. So that was a message I heard out of that, other than, everybody's stepping up to the plate. Kathy, let me go back to you real quick. And you go out and you give service on one day of the year. What happens to most people once they start serving? And do they continue, or do they just wait till next year and do it again?
Honestly, it's kind of lights a fire in someone's soul. Once they see the effect that one day of service has done to someone, you kind of create a servant heart, and you end up looking for opportunities to feel that feeling again. And so it creates in someone a real attitude of service that continues throughout their life, especially if you start this, if you expose younger people to those feelings of, we've talked about unity, we've talked about compassion, we've talked about healing, we've talked about love. Everyone wants those positive emotions in their lives and those positive feelings that they can take with them to remember during hard times. And if we can expose those young children to those things, they will have that desire throughout their life, and then I'll obviously teach their own children. So yes, if you're exposed to this type of service where you're giving of yourself with no expectations in return, it absolutely changes you.
It does. It is a life changer. And there's a lot of people out there that are looking for the good things. Mm-hmm. And this is a way to help them find the good things. Yes. And even though they go out and serve homeless people, it's becomes a good thing because they're working side by side with others that are, a lot of people call it sacrifice. I don't. I look at it as giving of yourself, as being the hands of our Savior in doing the work. And it's just a beautiful thing, folks. We just can't say enough. Let me read the mission statement for 9/11 Day, because you talked about the organization and how it started, but this is their mission statement. Our ongoing mission is to take back the day, transform the anniversary of 9/11 into a national day of doing good, and in the process rekindle the spirit of unity that arose in America in the immediate aftermath of the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks. Through our diverse programs, including organizing volunteer projects, creating national public service messages, operating this website, providing free lesson plans, toolkits, and other resources to tens of thousands of organizations, schools, employers, and other groups, we annually encourage tens of millions of Americans to volunteer, support charities, and perform other good deeds and acts of kindness that help others in the spirit of remembrance, unity, and service.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Yes.
That is a beautiful mission statement. It's a little bit long for a mission statement, but it's needed. It's almost like a little prayer. But the encouragement is not just September 11th. As you read this, it's all year round.
It's all year round.
Let's bring back that unity and the remembrance and the service that's ongoing. I
was just going to add to that. It's kind of just like Christmas. You don't just remember Christ on Christmas on the day we celebrate his birth, but we try to remember him always and try to emulate him always. And the same thing goes with this 9/11 Day idea, is that we remember these incidents. We remember the unityness. Is that what they were saying?
Unitedness. Yeah.
Unitedness. Okay, there we go. Didn't make sense for me. The unitedness, and that we carry this on every day. Make it a part of our lives rather than just one day a year.
Right.
Grace, you anything to add to this?
I was just going to say their toolkits and like the lesson plans are beautiful, and they could be utilized like not just in school. It could be, you could take it to your church or wherever, and to remind those kids or teach them if they aren't aware about 9/11. But some of the things that they have in the toolkit this year, they have 11 good deeds to help, and then they go through all different types, like, to help our military and veterans, or 11 good deeds that families can do together, or they even have 11 good deeds for young children. So they're focusing on everyone so that everyone can be involved, and they want to make it easy, and they define like what is a good deed. And they say your good deed can be any act of kindness, offering a helping hand to a friend, calling a relative, signing up to volunteer, making a contribution to a charity, donating clothing, canned food, or other items, or even taking a private moment to reflect on what's most important in your life. That people can even do a good deed for themselves, such as quitting smoking. And so, in other words, they're saying any good deed counts. It's just that you're promoting good deed and getting out and helping others or helping yourself to grow. And so some of the ones that they had listed specifically for our military and veterans is they go through different nonprofits that you can get involved with. So you can donate small bottles of soap or shampoo, toothpaste to the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans. Or you could send care packages for members of our military with the organization Support Our Troops. You could make holiday stockings for heroes, and you can do that with the organization Soldiers Angels. You could send a card, and there's so many organizations. There's Operation Gratitude, that not only do you send a card to people that are actively serving, but you could send a care package. You could donate your old phone to cell phones for soldiers. You could provide transportation services to veterans to volunteer with a local VA. You could donate books to Operation Paperback, and the list goes on. You get the idea that there's a lot of nonprofits out there that are doing so many good things and connecting people to those in need.
Well, that's fabulous. And this is, again, we don't hear about this in the media. We have to go find it on the website. Now, you talked about the lesson plans and the toolkits. If you go to 911day.org, you can request those, and they're free, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to speak to employers right now. Employers, get your employees involved in this. Get your companies involved in something. It started out with this year, with National September 11th, National Day of Service and Remembrance. Start this year, but do something on a regular basis with your company, with your employees, and I promise you that that work will get better, morale will go up, and you will see a change in your employees, and then you will see a change in your company. So whether you're a small company or a large company, I would highly suggest that you get involved there. Schools, yes, this needs to be in every school in America. It really does. When my children went to high school years ago, they had a service class. You took it. It was required to graduate. Wow. And the teacher was phenomenal, and they went out into the community all the time and served. It was part of the class.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
And I think that they don't do that anymore, which is sad, because that's what these youth need that Kathy was talking about earlier. Grace, go through the 11 suggestions or checklists for families, and let's discuss those, and then go to the young children after that.
All right, so the 11 good deeds that they have listed for families to do together are sponsor a family in need with the organization Family to Family. You can provide meals, letters, children's books, winter coats, and other items. You can give to the organization First Book. Donations will help deliver 7 million books to children in need who don't have internet access or home libraries to keep learning. You can donate books to Operation Paperback, and that nonprofit puts books in the hands of active duty military members and veterans. You can interview a grandparent or an elderly friend, find out what they did for fun when they were young, or how it is the same or different for you. You can get in touch with your local animal shelter and find an animal in need of a home to foster or to adopt. You can help to keep America beautiful, and a lot of states will have, keep Arkansas beautiful or so forth, and go clean up a park or a beach or a neighborhood near you as a family and share a photo of your project. And when you post it on social media, use the hashtag 9/11day or do beautiful things. Empower kids to lead via change with the organization Youth Service America. You can download and share Youth Service America's Kids in Action Guide. It's for ages 5 to 12, or Youth Changing the World Toolkit, which is ages 13 to 25, which empowers them to become leaders for change in their community. You can help neighbors with yard work and create simple service projects in your neighborhood by taking out the garbage, walking a dog, and that's also a nonprofit. You can lift your neighborhood spirit by leaving kind messages and art in your windows and on sidewalks for passersby to see, and teach courage, compassion, and resilience at home, and check out free activities that the 9/11 Memorial Museum offers for kids. And the number 11 is to discuss patriotism as a family. The Congressional Medal of Honor Society, which they have a link to, provides free lesson plans for young people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
Can I add to that, Richard? When she was talking about those organizations, so many of them are listed on justserve.org in our volunteer remotely section. Mm-hmm. There are many people that can't get out of the home or that, just don't have opportunities maybe nearby them, but you can find opportunities to serve online and within your home as well. Operation Gratitude is one of those things. You can do that at home. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that these opportunities are not something that you actually have to go to, but you can also do some things at home. And Just Serve is a coalition partner of 911day.org, and that's why we are so heavily promoting this specific day of remembrance so that people realize how important it is to our country.
You mentioned being part of the coalition partners. I made a list of a few. There were too many to try to talk about on the air, but AARP is a coalition partner, America Forward, and some of these I had not heard of, America's Promise Alliance, America's Service Commission, and of course American Red Cross, AmeriCorps, United Way, Blue Star Families, Boston Care, City of Boston, Catholic Charities, Catholic Volunteer Network, Encore.org, Families in Transition. I might come back to that. Engage, Florida Atlantic University, George Mason University, the Girl Scouts, Habitat for Humanity, Hands On Atlanta, New Orleans, Phoenix, the River Region, wherever that is, the Islamic Relief USA, Hunger Free America, Jersey Cares, Just Serve, Kansas Volunteer Commission, Religious Action Center for Reform Judaism, Volunteers America, and Grace, you mentioned earlier, Youth Service America. That is just a few of the coalition partners involved with 911day.org. Go on their website, look up these things. You will be impressed at what they're doing and the value, the big value this is for America as a citizen and as an individual and especially as a family. We really need to focus today on strengthening our families. And what better way than serving others as a family. Grace, you also mentioned your neighborhood.
Right.
Strengthen your neighbor. Bring your neighborhood. Become a service group just with your neighborhood that goes out into the community with just your neighbors.
I love
what
that.
A great idea.
Mm-hmm.
And all it would take is one person stepping out, and they'll be surprised how many people they will get to be part of that. Americans are wonderful people, period. All right. AmeriCorps, who was going to say something?
Nothing. I was just saying yes.
Okay.
What you're saying.
All righty. AmeriCorps has a comment here. How can you unite through service? Volunteering on National Days of Service is a great way to address a pressing need in your community. One good deed can spark a passion and create a relationship between communities and individuals that extend beyond this day to inspire a lifetime of service in all Americans. Unite through service on September 11th. And then how can you honor 9/11 Day of Service? Americans of all ages are invited to join with AmeriCorps to cross divides and let go of differences to rekindle the spirit of unity and service. Check out these steps for starting a service project. I might, let go of our differences to rekindle the spirit of unity through service.
Yes.
Right. I feel like, it's like Kathy was saying, that service really connects us, that you have a greater connection, and you see the person that you're serving side by side no longer, as a category of, well, this is, their religion or their nationality or whatever, but you see them for the goodness and the person that they are, and you really get to know them and break down those barriers.
Well, we see them as a child of God.
Right.
Which we all are. And
right.
we see them as a child of God. And through service, we become their brother or their sister.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing to be involved in, ladies and gentlemen. If you've not experienced that, I challenge everyone to reach out just once, folks. Just do it once, and you will be hooked. I promise. All right. Further on, AmeriCorps says, become a champion. It has been more than 20 years since 9/11. We continue to honor the sacrifices made that day by remembering the heroes, armed forces, first responders, and countless others' acts of service to defend our nation's freedom. On the September 11th National Day of Service and Remembrance, we invite you to cross divides, differences, and ideologies to come together in service to honor those lost and those whose lives were forever changed that faithful day. Lift each other up, neighborhood by neighborhood, just as Americans did more than 20 years ago. United to serve. That is a great phrase. United to serve.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. And these, we're here to educate and empower. And I think what we're doing today is empowering a lot of people that are listening in and who will listen to the recording afterwards, to empower them to take a different step in their lives, or to broaden their step if they are serving, to broaden that step. And this is going to bring power to America, power to we the people in America. Now, I need to play a soundbite here. Let's do this.
The Savior Jesus Christ commanded, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." But it's not always easy finding ways to show that love through service. JustServe.org can help. Just Serve is a free website dedicated to helping those who want to serve find opportunities in their area. Just Serve has teamed up with nonprofit organizations nationwide to post service opportunities. Go to justserve.org and type in your city, and you'll see upcoming projects near you. Each one gives you all the information you need, like when and where the event takes place, as well as who to contact to volunteer. Sign up on justserve.org to receive emails letting you know about new opportunities. Just Serve provides an easy way for you to follow the example of the Savior and lift up the hands that hang down. You can make a difference, and Just Serve can help. JustServe.org is provided as a service by The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Since we're a radio station, we do PSAs, and that is another one for JustServe.org. Voltaire, a great writer, gave this quote, and I love this: "Everyone is guilty of all the good he did not do." So, everyone is guilty of all the good he did not do. So that kind of puts things into perspective, doesn't it, Grace?
It does.
It's a little shaming.
Yeah.
Well, none of us are perfect, right?
No,
right.
And our capacity is only so much, and so we shouldn't feel guilt. We just should feel inspired to get out and be that difference in people's lives.
Right.
That's right. And find a niche. You don't have to go to every nonprofit out there and give your time. Find a niche. Find something that works for you with your time and with your talents, and stick with it. And they will appreciate it. I know going into senior citizens' homes, I walk out of there going in and just sitting there talking with them, basically just listening. They want to talk. They want somebody to talk to. I walk out of there in tears every time for those people.
Yes, I feel the same. It was pre-COVID, but I took all of my kids, and my youngest was just a little baby, and it was heartwarming to me because I had both men and women reach out and want to hold the baby, and I would let them, and they said, I haven't held a baby in 10 years. So you just don't know whose day you can brighten and the love that you can share. So there's so many ways, like you said. It doesn't have to be a specific, project. You can just go to a nursing home or anything that you feel led to do to brighten somebody's day. Who can you be the light for that day?
Oh, absolutely. It's one little act of kindness, folks. One little act of kindness can change somebody's lives. There's so many stories we could tell here, but I want to play another soundbite. I found this, and it's 10 ways to build a sense of community. And it's 5 minutes long, and they give us 10 ways, and I've got a list, and if we have time, we'll go through those and discuss them. So hold on here.
Community is a word we hear every day. While it can mean different things, one meaning stands out for most people. The feeling of connection that results when shared interests and goals bind us together as citizens. Everyone wants to live in a community where they feel safe and valued and their contributions matter. A place where they are connected to others. Sometimes people feel powerless to make their community more welcoming, but it's important to know that everyone can make a difference. Here are 10 things you can do to build a sense of community and connection where you live. 1. Volunteer. Volunteering is at the heart of how our communities grow and thrive. Local services, like child development centers and annual events like May Day parades, are successful because community members from different walks of life get involved. When you share your time, you help to make your community stronger. 2. Honor seniors. Every day, seniors do many different things that make our communities better places to live. They share their wisdom and talents with others, look after grandchildren, and volunteer their time. So, say hi to a senior today. Join in whenever you can to celebrate seniors and the contributions they make to community life. 3. Join a community garden. Learn about or share your passion for growing fruit and vegetables by working with others who have this passion. Meet new people, have fun outdoors, and help build local food security. If your town or city doesn't have a community garden, help to start one. 4. Help people in need. Give things you don't need to people who can use them. Contribute to local charities. Carry out a random act of kindness and make a difference in a stranger's or neighbor's life. These acts are great ways to bring communities together. 5. Visit your neighborhood park. Parks are natural places to go and relax, meet other people, and do things you like. You can walk your dog, have a picnic, or play frisbee. The list of possible activities is endless. They also increase your chances of meeting new people. If you see litter when you're there, pick it up. Help make your local park more welcoming for everyone. 6. Buy and sell local goods and services. If you need to buy something or hire a person to do something for you, find a local business whenever you can. If you make food products or crafts, sell them at a nearby farmer's market. When your community has a strong economy, it helps to build relationships and bring people together. 7. Speak up when something concerns you. Each day we see things that challenge the well-being of our communities, like property crime and poverty. You may feel you don't have a voice, but you do. Every community has conversations about ways to address these issues that you can participate in. Share your ideas and concerns and help strengthen your community. 8. Use your local library. Yes, we have the internet, but libraries are great places to learn and meet people who share your interests and passions. Research your favorite topics. Find out about the history of your community. Join a book club that meets at your library. Chances are you might even make some new friends. 9. Organize a block party. People live busy lives and often don't have time to relax and get to know their neighbors. A block party is a great way to celebrate and bring people together. You can share food, listen to music, and have fun. When people get to know each other, they start looking out for one another. This makes our communities safer. 10. Join a local club or group. Clubs and interest and hobby groups make people's lives richer. They also make our communities more interesting and vibrant places to live. It could be a group of running enthusiasts, or a choir, camera club, knitting group, or sports team. Whatever you're interested in, your gifts and talents will be welcomed. Take the time and try out some of these simple ideas. Encourage your family, friends, and neighbors to join in as well. Your actions will help to make your community a more welcoming place to live.
To me, that was pretty powerful and fits right in with the Just Serve initiative. Kathy, your thoughts?
Absolutely, yes. I was taking notes as she was speaking, and some of the words that popped out in her introduction were connection, safety, value, power, and those were some things that I think that we're all seeking. And these 10 ways that she just described to become engaged in your communities are ways that we can accomplish those 4 things that we're all seeking. And I felt like that was very inspirational. Most of it was really about making friends, interacting with other people, just really being engaged in your community and learning more about others and about what's going on. And, you know, when people are involved in those ways, they gain a greater sense of purpose and hope in their lives. And then they become more focused on other things other than their own self-worries and their self-problems. And so that connection that we're all really needing is something that you can find when you're out doing this type of thing. And number one was volunteering. And to me, that is, you know, where my heart is. I love the fact that she talked about honoring seniors, because I think that is something that is getting lost in our country right now. We are not necessarily respecting the wisdom and the experience of those who have gone through life and experienced so much that that this coming up generation has not ever experienced. You know, we have some that have lived through world wars. We have some very few left that have gone through, you know, those times. And so where we have not experienced those things, we can gain a lot of good perspective from our seniors, and they have just a different outlook. And so we need that knowledge. We need that wisdom. And the only way we can get that is through that respect and that communication with them. So I loved those first two.
Yeah, you know, young people, sit down with your grandparents, record their stories, record their wisdom. You will look back one day and regret that, and for not doing that. Yeah, and I look back, you know, not doing that with my grandparents, the experiences that they had and the challenges that they had coming up through the Great Depression and the First World War and the Second World War and all the other things that took place. But they survived. Mm-hmm. And those were great lessons. So when I first heard this, I just, wow, this is very impressive. Grace, your comments.
I agree with everything that you guys are saying. And once again, just all the words that Kathy pointed out that were highlighted. And I just keep going back to connection. And we have so much anxiety in our world today. And I read an article yesterday that talked about anxiety from a lady that had written a book. And she just specifically pinpointed, you know, ways to deal with it. And she said, you know, it's not necessarily just, well, if I just avoid the situation that it'll get better. She said it actually gets worse. And so to me, getting out and serving can help with that in such an important way, because when you go and study brain chemistry and all of those different things, like you're having a release of serotonin, all these different hormones and chemicals in our body that play an important role so that we feel love, we feel those positive emotions. They're important. And we can get that in a very healthy way and feel that connection as we go out and serve and get involved in our communities.
Oh, thank you so much. Ralph Waldo Emerson, one little quote: "The purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful, to be honorable, to be compassionate, to have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well." Now, I agree with that statement, except if you become useful and honorable and compassionate and make a difference in someone's life, you will be happy.
Right.
Now, he didn't say, he said, purpose of life is not to be happy, it's to live a good life and serve others. Right. And he says you cannot do kindness too soon. And I agree with that as well. And ladies, I will send to you, it was a Facebook, or not a Facebook, but a YouTube video and I will send you the link, and I made an audio recording out of it for the show. So I will send you both links, and I hope that you can use it, and I hope you will use it in training people and talking to people, not only in the church but in the communities. These are some great guidelines. The toolkit from 9/11 Day of Service, their toolkit gave us a great guideline. Matter of fact, Grace, I want to get back to that and go over the 11 good deeds that young kids can do. Can you go through those, please?
Yes, I can. So what they have listed for children, and some of these I would add can be found on justserve.org because it's like for your local community, you know, like we talked about visiting, you know, the elderly or delivering cards to them in the nursing home. Some of those things are listed on Just Serve, but some of the other ones they have is donate books that you no longer read to a local public library, learn about a holiday that is different from what you celebrate in your home, and share what you've discovered with your family or classmates, make cards for brave firefighters and first responders, help your family and neighbors with yard work, set up a play date with someone new in your class or neighbor, bring a reusable water bottle to school every day instead of drinking from plastic bottles. Ask your parents to walk, bike, or take public transit when running errands to reduce your carbon footprint. Pick up at least 5 pieces of trash outside. Get your classmates to join you or friends. Ask someone you normally do not play with to be on your team during the game or at recess. Make planters out of plastic bottles and use them to plant flowers and put them outside your home.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Simple things.
Yeah.
That little children can do.
Right.
One of the most fun activities I did with my grandkids recently was we painted rocks with positive messages and then went out hiking and planted them all throughout these trails in our community. And they had so much fun doing this. And in fact, we found a couple as we were walking on these trails, and, you know, just giving them that sense, that experience really of they're so excited when someone finds their rock. They want to know about it. And so it was just this really sweet thing. We had so much fun gathering rocks, painting them, and then going out and hiking. So it's kind of a long activity, but it was very meaningful for them, and they do remember it.
Oh, those are just precious times. Precious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We are so blessed in America. We are a blessed nation, and this nation was founded upon inspiration, and I firmly believe that. Ladies, I want to wrap up the program today with something. I'm really going to put you on the spot here, and probably not, because you guys are good at this. But we hear a lot of this scripture being quoted a lot. At least we are in my area. And it's Ephesians 6. It's verse 13, but it's 11 through 20 is the whole armor of God. But it says in verse 13, "Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand." Now, we are challenged in this day. And like I said, I'm hearing a lot in this area, and a lot of people quoting this on their social media, etc., putting on the whole armor of God. And this verse is quoted a lot. So here's my question for Kathy and Grace and all our listeners. You can answer it yourself. How can serving the poor and needy help us strengthen the whole armor of God in our lives? How can serving the poor and needy help us strengthen the whole armor of God in our lives?
I think that, like, when you think of, you know, all the things that are listed in those scripture verses, it would obviously strengthen all of them. But what comes to mind is the feet of peace. And that the feet, you're walking, you're moving, you're acting, and that's what we're sharing. We're sharing hope, we're sharing peace, we're sharing love when we get out and serve. And so it's strengthening not only you and, the armor of God, but others, because they feel that love. They can feel the Savior's love through you as you go out and serve.
Oh, thank you. That's beautiful.
I would add to that, it mentions the shield of faith, obviously, and this type of giving of yourself, this action is faith in action. It is like the quote that I had read earlier. It's demonstration of where your heart really is in your conviction to the Lord's message for you. And it gives you the opportunity to prove to yourself and to the Lord where your heart really is. And so service is that vehicle for me.
Oh, that's great. I like to call this discipleship of service. Discipleship of service. We become a disciple of Christ or any other God or creator that we worship through our faith. So I call this the discipleship of service. And by reaching out to the poor and the needy, we strengthen our own discipleship of service. And in doing that, not only do we feel the peace and we feel the faith and the strength that the Lord gives us, but we touch other lives, even those that are serving or those that we serve. So I just felt it very fitting that we focus at the end of our program to focus on some of the benefits we get, that even though we've talked about through the program, some of the benefits that we receive by giving of ourselves. And I think that as our listeners take this into their thoughts and hopefully their actions, that their prayers will become more focused, that all of us, I'll say our, not theirs, but all of our prayers will become more focused, that we'll start looking outward more and become better people, better discipleship of service, and educate ourselves in that area. I think we have, well, let me ask you guys. Kathy, have we accomplished today in the program what you feel like we set out to do?
I would hope so. I'm just hoping that we stir people's hearts and minds to the idea that they can both experience these things that we've been speaking about and then enlarge their capacity to make a difference in their world. And that is the whole purpose that we've tried to come on here and just give ideas and thoughts and examples to stir up their hearts to be able to accomplish those good things.
Okay. All right. Grace?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with everything that Kathy said and just highlighting what you said on the blessings that come into our lives from service, that we've touched on many of those. But I feel like also that it gives you a sense of purpose in life, beyond just your day-to-day activities and all of those things, which are obviously purpose-led as well. But a purpose in doing the Lord's work and in connecting with others. And it allows you to have an avenue to use the gifts that you've been blessed with. You know, each of us have talents, and we can use those to bless others' lives.
Oh, yeah, that's a great summary, Kathy and Grace. We are blessed. We all have different talents. Do not ask me to build something. It will not happen. That's not my talent. My talent is in organizing and teaching. So we need to learn our own strengths and talents to be able to benefit the lives of others. Kathy Larson and Grace Lewis, representatives of JustServe.org, or the Just Serve organization in the North American Southeast area. Grace is from Arkansas and Kathy's in Alabama. I'm in upstate of South Carolina. So we cover a lot of ground. There's a lot of people, a lot of great hearts out there giving of themselves and their times. Become one of them. And you have this opportunity coming up in about 2 weeks. September 11th is a Sunday, so you have a Saturday to go out and serve in your community, and you will make a difference. And once you get that taste of this service, you will want to go back for more. And, it's like ice cream. You don't just eat ice cream once in your life. It's
right.
It's an ongoing thing. All right. So service can become the same thing. I haven't gone out and served in a while. Let's get back out there. I need that inspiration being lifted up again. And that's what this is all about. So, Kathy and Grace, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure that we will do this again down the road. These are great programs, inspirational. It falls right into our education and enlightenment and empowering individuals as they listen to these. We're going to go out today with a little inspirational patriotism, where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. This is the instrumental version. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us today, and have a great day, and may God bless America.